What's up, you guys? This is Albert from Alberto's Towing again. I'm going to be showing you guys right now how I hook up any kind of bobtail or forklift or really any piece of equipment onto a flatbed. First thing I start off is I hit the PTO. Then I want to throw my beacon lights on. I want to make sure my airbags are pushed down so I have the air completely out of the system. Upon coming out of the truck, I want to go ahead and roll my flatbed back. I get to about right there. I bring it down to about that center piece hits the ground right there. That's good. Can you move the chains out of the way, bro? Just move them up. Probably should have been a little bit closer. I'll show you the proper way to do it, assuming the vehicle doesn't drive. Behind this way. Make sure the camera stays pointing. So your first step that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go ahead and undo the winch. Make sure the winch is completely free spool. Once it's completely free spool, go ahead and pull your winch line out. Now notice when I hook it up, the hook is facing the correct way. Okay? It's something small that a lot of people mess up on, is they go like this. No problem. What's the problem is if it starts pulling at some kind of weird angle like this, it's now putting pressure against the latch. Latch can give out. Make sure your hook's the correct way. Your second thing that you're gonna want to go ahead and throw a snatch block on. You know, some towing companies don't have a snatch block. Everybody should have a snatch block, being realistic, you know. You guys are providing services. Snatch block keeps the wear of your winch nice and good, so you don't wear it out too fast. Chain that I have. Okay, we'll be back with you guys in 2 seconds. Okay, and we're back. So the only thing we wanted to do is we want to get that vehicle shifted into neutral, right? Now that we have that vehicle shifted into neutral, we can go ahead and throw our chains onto there, which if you want to go ahead and film me, I'll grab the chains. Hey boss, we got it. We're hooking it up now. Alright, you got it. Yes, sir. Thank you. Now, anytime you're putting something this large up onto the flatbed, keep in mind that you're never gonna have enough room on top of your bed. So you wanna cut your chain. I'm gonna go ahead and go 5 down. I'm 5 down exact right there. And this chain is cut to my perfect height to where I need that. I do the same thing for this side. I got that chain cut exactly to where I need it at. So now that I got everything set up, I got everything set up for winching and everything. And go ahead, I got everything on a snatch block. I got everything up. The chain's cut. Make sure the winch is going straight. Okay, and now, even though it's an 8,000 pound winch, you got to run it into a snatch block to get the full 8,000. If you don't run it in a parallel snatch block back to the truck, you don't gain the full 8,000. Man, if you want to go ahead and get in there and just to steer it. And last thing I forgot to mention, if you noticed on my hook right here, my hook's facing the up position. I have it facing the up position just because so that I can make sure that it doesn't catch my flatbed coming on up. Go just a little bit more. Okay, all right. It's a pretty big unit. I left a little bit of space. I didn't leave too much chain available, so I choked it pretty short. If you notice, my winch got wrapped up pretty nice and evenly. I was careful as I was winching it up to make sure that my winch comes up nice and evenly. We're pretty much set to go ahead and start up the first tie down. Go ahead and throw it in park, turn this thing off. Or actually, don't even bother putting it in park, just still leave it in neutral. Now, another thing that I'd like to notice is I left this unit on neutral still, right? So why did I leave it on neutral? Because we're not done tying this thing up. What I want to do first is safety before I get under the vehicle, is I want to go ahead and throw a tie down chain over here on the back. Do you mind throwing a tie down chain on this right hand side? If you want to record me, you can record me. Just make sure to hold the camera good. Yeah, a lot of these EVs tend to break down.
That's why I'm driving my fucking gas powered shit.
Hell yeah, man.
That's awesome.
cutting this thing back a little bit just so I can get it properly to where I need it at. I'm gonna see if I can go a little bit looser on this guy.
It's in park.
This guy can definitely use some grease. A lot of grease. Another pro tip, besides keeping stuff lubricated and greased, which is the most obvious here, make sure you guys always have your binders fully stretched out, ready to go. You don't want to be in this situation, you're on the side of the road, you got to bind something up quickly, and you're messing with the ratchet binder. That's the most annoyingest thing ever, to be messing with the ratchet binder when you don't want to be messing with the ratchet binder. So make sure you're always, you know, fixing up the ratchet binder correctly. Hey man, you don't have any grease in here? You got a whole tub right there. Now, as I'm ratchet binding this thing up, I make sure that I left a little bit of slack in the center of these two. This way it can bind up nice and evenly. You guys see that? Plenty of slack in the center. It allows you to bind up nice and easy. Just give it a little time, just in case it's gonna fall down. There's something that catches it. From there, I go ahead and drag it on up. So I get to about that point right there. Right there's a pretty good point. I can still close my bed without damaging the bed locks. I can safely come under this now because I have that one ratchet binder holding me, so I'm not worried about anything anymore. These are back axle chains. Any kind of chain you guys might have works. I mean, even if you gotta do something like this, wrap it around the axle, choke it to itself, it doesn't really matter. Honest to God, it doesn't. You know, you just want to have some way to tie it down. Now, this is empty, so I can assume it's weighing in close to about 8,500 pounds. You assume these things are always fully loaded, and off the GVW of it, you guys always need to be carrying chains. This is too big of a unit to be using straps on it. You know, there should never be anybody using straps on a unit this big. It should just be chained all the way down with the snatch block to winch it on up. You want to chain that down into those little key slots as tight as you can go. And when you winch it up, the final winch, you want it to be nice and even. So now come back here up to the front. Notice I didn't winch it all the way up. I barely got any room in the back. I still left a little bit of space back there. Why'd I leave that space back there? For the remainder of the winch.
It's in park.
Put it in park? Okay. Now we look at how much space we have from the front. We don't have a whole lot, right? We got everything worked out nice and even on the front. Everything's nice and tight on the back. You can go ahead and boom this unit down. Can you go ahead and remove my hat out of the way? Make sure everything's flush back there. You gotta change to the other side?
It should be.
As we roll this flap it up, you want to go nice and slow. We go slow because we don't want to put too much pressure up onto those bed locks. So that's kind of the importance of going slow. Man, he's gonna go ahead and come over here to the front and chain down that last A-arm. We're pretty much good to go there. We have a bit of an overhang right here. It's just going right down the street. We're not gonna put a flag back there. I mean, if you guys have flags or some rags on you, I definitely recommend it. But for this little overhang, I mean, I'm sure we'll be okay. So the last part I want to do right now is I want to just go ahead and tuck away all the excess. All of this stuff that's just excess chain, doesn't matter how you want to tuck it away, as long as it all gets tucked away. Oh. Better way to do this. Tighten it up a little bit more. Manny, I'm gonna go a little more tighter. How was Manny? Okay. You should be able to come back here and these chains feel tight, right? That's how you know you got it real nice and tight. If they still feel loose, I mean, just give it one more last snap with the winch to get that last inch of tightness onto there. That's fine. Like I said, I'm just going right down the street. If I had more room to choke itself to it, I definitely would. But this is just kind of just to wrap up the last remainder piece of the chain. To get that all squared away. Okay, all right, that's cool. That last little remainder piece of chain, it's all tucked away. The back strapped up. We still have a little bit of space here in the front. Come back over here to Manny's side. See how Manny's doing. Manny's definitely struggling, because this should have been fully stretched out to begin with. So now, no matter how tight he goes, it's a good learning moment. No matter how tight Manny wants to go with this crank, this will never tighten down. We only have this much thread on each side, and he still has a whole lot of tightening to go. So this isn't gonna work out. When you guys start, you guys wanna make sure your ratchets are fully opened up. All your binders are fully opened up and they're not folded the way this was. You want that straight. This way you can get the tightest pull right onto it, and then from there finish up tightening it up by hand. That's important anytime you're doing any kind of towing or you're moving equipment. You wanna make sure you're doing all that stuff. I'm gonna have to set the camera there for now, because I won't be able to do this with one hand. Rather need two. Start off by opening up my binder. Binder's opening up. Once I got my binder pretty much opened up, and go ahead now and pull this as tight as I can. Which that was the tightest I was able to get it back there. I doubt I'm gonna get it a little bit more tighter over here on this side. Hopefully I can. Okay. That was as tight as I was able to go. Nope, loosening up. Now you guys are moving around any kinds of equipment or anything kind of heavy, don't mess around with chains. We're all adults here, we're all grown-ups. So this ratchet could be a little nicer. All right, that works for my setup here. This front piece is nice and tight. It's not going anywhere. Try to give you guys a more of a better insight inside of here. So that's what the inside kind of looks like. Very simple, very straightforward. Not much to it. I mean, this binder might want to move up. You don't want it to be hitting those plastics. Preferably you want to have the nice binders that fold and the arm kind of folds down and flattens out with it. I always recommend to buy those. These might have been some of our spares that were thrown onto this truck. Irregardless, so this thing doesn't unfold and hit the plastic, I literally just grab the excess and kind of just you know, patted it down right there so it doesn't go anywhere. So that's about it. There's not too much to it. So, and that's really all it takes to load up something a little bit more bigger onto a flatbed carrier. To unload the unit, we would do the exact same thing backwards. Go ahead and roll down the bed. We would break off before we get all the way down to the ground, we would break off these back 2 chains first, loosen up the winch a little bit, take one off, leave the other one loose, just enough to winch down. Once we've winched down, we can go ahead and take these back pieces off. And then take that final one off and just go ahead and allow it to be winched backwards. Really that simple. There's not much to it. You know, it's the little things like securing your load properly or making sure you have a snatch block in place that makes your equipment last a lot longer. So definitely make sure you guys are doing all of that stuff to be safe out there. Thank you guys and have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.